The brain is perhaps the most mysterious and intriguing part of the human body. Today, the brain is a very prominent field of study, but there is evidence of brain surgery dating back to the Stone Age. The father of medicine, Hippocrates, studied the brain and its disorders and recorded his findings in great detail. Although there is evidence of healing on ancient skulls, the conditions would be considered barbaric today. It was not until the early 1900s that brain surgery developed into the disciplined specialty of neurosurgery, thanks to the dedicated career of Dr. Harvey Cushing, founder and influential leader in modern neurosurgery.
Every fundamental maneuver that we use in neurosurgery today was given to us by Harvey Cushing.
Harvey Cushing was the youngest of 10 children, born to Henry Kirk Cushing on April 8, 1869 in Cleveland, Ohio. He attended Central High School and in 1887 departed for Yale University. After graduating from Yale, he received his MD at Harvard Medical School in 1895. Cushing arrived at the Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland in 1896. He worked under William Halsted, who he was not particularly fond of, but did grow to like one of his superiors, William Osler. Cushing found the Johns Hopkins Hospital to be dirty, sloppy, and disorganized, but he would soon shape it to be a role model for many other hospitals. Harvey Cushing decided to make a medical pilgrimage to Europe, where he studied the effects of blood pressure on the brain using his sphygmomanometer or blood pressure meter. This research sparked his interest in neurosurgery. While he was in Europe, Dr. Halsted offered Harvey Cushing a job as chief neurosurgeon at Hopkins. He accepted and went right to work. He made many critical advancements, many of these being tumor removal, which he would later come to specialize in. He also found improved ways to cauterize blood vessels and enter the dura, the protective outer layer of the brain. Harvey Cushing was particularly interested in tumors in the pituitary gland, which secretes growth hormones. These tumors can cause overgrowth, undergrowth, and many other deformities. He experimented with dogs at the Hunterian Laboratory at the Hopkins Hospital. Here he was developing methods of giving patients extra hormone. He soon had enough information to write a book, The Pituitary Body and Its Disorders, although it became quickly outdated after new surgical discoveries were made. At this time, a new student had enrolled in the Hopkins medical program. His name was Walter Dandy. He was very talented, and even Dr. Cushing was impressed with his work. But Dandy aspired to become Cushing's superior, and they would later become great rivals. During his period of success, many hospitals tried to lure Cushing away from Hopkins. He accepted a job at the Peter Bent Brigham Hospital that was to be built in Boston, Massachusetts, and affiliated with the Harvard Medical Program. He would become chief neurosurgeon at Harvard and the professor of surgery. At the beginning of World War I, most Americans had neutral views. Harvey Cushing did too, but soon came to favor the Allies after seeing the offensive measures that the Germans were taking. He wanted to contribute to the war, so he formed a small group of surgeons and nurses from Harvard to serve overseas. He was particularly successful in removing bullet fragments from the brain with a magnet. Pictured is his own sketch of the operation. He was making plans for a hospital unit on the Boston Common, but citizens felt that he was desecrating their park. This plan remained unfinished after a message from the Surgeon General that they were needed in Europe. They arrived at a Royal Army Medical Corps hospital in France. Harvey Cushing operated rather slow for the many patients that he had, due to his habit of perfectionism. He was stationed at a casualty clearing station near the front lines. He worked very hard and was efficient, but scolded his British colleagues for eating so many meals during the day. Meanwhile, William Osler's son, Revere, was fighting near Cushing when his unit was shelled. He was badly injured. Harvey Cushing and 4 other skilled American surgeons operated on him, but despite their efforts, he died the next morning. Nearing the end of the war, Harvey Cushing caught a case of influenza and was hospitalized until the end of the war. By now, He had 3 daughters and 2 sons, Henry, William, Mary, Betsy, and Barbara, who he promised to spend more time with now that he was home from the war. Harvey Cushing was getting older, and he did not seem to be doing surgery as well as he formerly did. It seemed that the father of neurosurgery only had a limited amount of surgeries left. William Osler died in December of 1919. His wife, Grace Osler, asked Harvey to write his biography. Meanwhile, Walter Dandy published an article in the Johns Hopkins Bulletin describing a procedure that would eradicate an acoustic neuroma. This was almost a direct description of a procedure that Harvey Cushing had developed many years earlier. After William Halsted died, Harvey Cushing was offered a job at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. He was also offered a job in Cleveland, but declined both. In 1925, Harvey Cushing published The Life of Sir William Osler in a 2-volume collection, and was awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1926. Previously, his interest in the pituitary gland had diminished, but now he was more excited than ever to use a new tool called the Bovie electric scalpel, which used an electric current to cut out tumors and cauterize blood vessels. There were still some problems with using electric current in surgery, but Cushing saw the value in this new tool. His son, William Harvey Cushing, died in June 1926 in a car accident. Harvey was deeply depressed, but did not show it. He continued vigorously with brain tumor research, and on April 15, 1931, Harvey Cushing removed his 2,000th brain tumor. This is a clip from a video taken at the operation and later narrated by a resident that was present at the surgery.
A tumor of the pituitary, although devastating in its biological effects and the damage that it does to vision, is usually quite small and is therefore difficult to demonstrate in pictures such as these. You will have to take my word for it that the tumor was located and that its removal was accomplished.
After the operation, he was given a cake, a cigarette box, and a congratulatory telegram from Henry Ford. Harvey Cushing knew that his career was drawing to a close. He worked to finalize his pituitary research, and he gave his last speech at a medical conference. Cushing decided that he was going to return to Yale as the Sterling Professor of Neurosurgery. Harvey Cushing enjoyed his time at Yale, publishing an occasional essay and not doing much neurological work. He now had 2 granddaughters, Kate and Sarah. He was still collecting historical medical documents and decided to will them to Yale. In 1938, he published his last book. He also gave his last speech at the Harvey Cushing Society, where he was honored for his 70th birthday. He had stopped attending most conferences and meetings, and missed both the Hopkins and Brigham anniversaries. On October 3rd, while with his friend John Fulton, he reported having serious chest pains. He was rushed to the New Haven Hospital. 4 days later, Harvey Cushing died on October 7, 1939, of a heart attack. He wrote a farewell letter to his wife, Kate, saying, "Don't mourn us too much, or we will be unhappy waiting for you." His funeral was held at Central Congregation Church in New Haven. 2,500 people were in attendance. His body was cremated and buried in Lakeview Cemetery in Cleveland, Ohio. But Harvey Cushing's life does not end in the graveyard in Cleveland, but lives on in every neurosurgical operating room. He founded many organizations such as the American Association of Neurological Surgeons. His entire collection of medical historical documents now resides at Yale University, along with his collection of approximately 800 jars of brains and brain tumors. Dr. Harvey Cushing made numerous revolutionary contributions to the field of neurosurgery, such as his discovery of Cushing's disease or pituitary tumors, and his development of many surgical tools and procedures, some of which are still used today. Even today, every neurosurgeon in America can trace their lineage of learning back to Harvey Cushing.